a stablemate for comparison. That is definitely the best way to do comparisons. So if we compare it to this little stablemate here, you can see these jars are bigger than a stablemate. So they're really good value jars. So today we are going to be reviewing Tommy Art Colour. So we've been stocking this brand at Chestnut Ridge for a while now, and I have been meaning to do a review for so long. I'm really excited that we're going to get to do a review today, actually use one of the paints and have a look at whether these paints are actually any good. So we're going to be doing two main experiments. We're going to be hand painting with them, so we're going to see what they're like to actually just physically hand paint on a prepped model. And we're also going to have a go at airbrushing with them, so we're going to have a go at seeing whether they actually airbrush and what sort of coverage we get with the airbrush. But first things first, let's start by having a look at the paints themselves and talking through how much they cost and the different colours. So you can see a selection of the paints up here. I haven't got all of them out. So they cost £7.43 for a standard jar just like this. And you can see how big this jar is. Let's add a stablemate for comparison. That is definitely the best way to do comparisons. So if we compare it to this little stablemate here, you can see these jars are bigger than a stablemate. So they're really good value jars. They come in a reasonable range of colours. There are lots and lots of different like earthy shades, which is one of the reasons I really like these paints. I really like a paint that comes with like loads of earthy shades. They have several different types. So this one here is called colour, and that is where you're getting your kind of rich colour types. But you can see that they also have the more sort of lighter colours. So this one is just called powder. That's part of their colour range. And I think all of the ones we've got here are colour, apart from this one. And you can see this one is called Finish. So this one is slightly more expensive at £9.85, but this entire jar is gloss. So if, like me, you have been using tiny little pots of gloss that actually, to be fair, last quite a long time, depending on how much you're glossing models, this is obviously a much better value alternative because you get this huge pot. Also, if you are doing custom glosses and actually covering the entire model in gloss, then something this size might be a better option. We're not going to try this one today, but just to let you know that it's there, it's on the website. If you do get it, do let us know whether it's any good, maybe do a video review, and so that everyone knows whether they're any good or not. So the colours I've got up here are the gloss. I've got a light blue grey, you can see there. I've got cream, I've got mud, I've got powder, and I've got this really lovely like rich brown, really dark brown. And if you look, it's not massively reddy. Like sometimes I really struggle to find browns that aren't really red, so I quite like that. So that said, the colour we are going to be using is fuchsia, because if we're going to do a review, we might as well do a review in bright pink. So we're going to be using fuchsia today. As you can see, it's part of the colour range. Okay, you can see it costs you £7.43 for this nice big tub. Okay, it's a mineral based paint. You're getting 140 millilitres for your £7.43. They are heavy. You try carrying a whole box of these, it's not fun. Okay, so really good pigment. Right, what does it say on the instructions? Always follow the instructions. I never follow the instructions. It says can be used on almost any surface. You can apply them without sanding or priming. We have primed. Mix on layer with any product in the Tommy Art DIY system for endless combinations. Always shake and stir before use. Okay, so our two victims today. First of all, we have this little G3 Peruvian Paso. Say hi, little victim. All prepped and ready to go. He's going to be our hand painting example. And secondly, we have a necklace. So we've got a little mini Winnie unicorn that's already been modified, customized to a necklace. So he's going to be our second victim. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start off by having a go at hand painting and see how they apply. Hello again. Right then, let's get started and see how well these apply by hand. Now, I do apologise that I have a slight predicament, which is that Maggie is lying right under my feet and I can't actually get close to the desk. But hey ho, we can all survive. So let's open up our pot. Oh, that was easier than I thought it was going to be. Wow. Guys, look at that colour. You want intensive colour? We've got intensive colour. I mean, this is pink. I do love pink, so that's a good thing. Okay, so we're going to start by, what we're going to do is we're just going to loosely apply it, I think, over the tail, just so we can get an idea of what it's like being applied. I have no idea what I'm doing with this horse, because we're just going to play and we're just going to experiment. So go over there. Right, okay, so let's get some paint, okay? As you can see, it's actually quite thick. So we'll apply it on our horse. Okay, so if you look, it's quite a thick acrylic, but really, really nice to paint with. It doesn't feel really horrible and watery. Some acrylics feel very horrible and watery. You're getting quite a good coverage on this little guy. We don't know what we're going to be doing with this guy now. He's got a pink tail, but you know. So yeah, like quite nice coverage. I'm just dry brushing this on. I haven't wetted my brush at all. I just thought I'd just go for it. We go straight on. We're not going to mix it with anything. We're just going to slap it on and see what it looks like. Do, 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 do. Well, this is fun, isn't it? We're going to speed this up. I just got paint all over his leg, but we're just going to pretend that didn't happen. I feel like I'm at like one of those kid craft things with the sort of indelicate painting I'm doing. Okay, right, there's a huge smudge of it over his leg, but we'll deal with that at some point. Okay, so we've applied a layer, and as you can see, it applies on quite nicely. We've got quite a true to colour look at the moment. We'll see what it looks like when dry. It's not too bad. I think it looks quite nice. So let's have a go at seeing what it looks like if we water it down a little bit. Let's use a wet brush. Now, let's get some clean water. There we go. So I'm going to use a wet brush and we're just going to water it down a little bit. And I'm just going to do the top of the tail just to see what it's like watered down. Okay, so actually you water it down a bit. You're getting quite a nice smooth like finish. Yeah, this is actually quite nice to work with. It feels pretty much like your standard acrylic. Like it feels very acrylic-y to work with. God, this is awful. I don't think I've ever done such bad painting in my entire life. It's paint all over the horse. It feels really, really nice actually. As you can see, it's coming on quite nicely. Now where I've watered it down, obviously the paint's a lot thinner, so it's going to need like layers, but in terms of blending, that's kind of what you want to some extent. So if you're trying to blend, that's quite nice. Right, should we see if we can do some detail work and see what it looks like in terms of detail work? Okay, so let's see, what are we going to do? What are we even going to paint for the detail work? That is the main question. What are we even going to do? Why are all my paintbrushes absolutely shockingly bad? If anyone was to like send me paintbrushes, be appreciated. Right, okay, sorry, that was me sucking my brush, which is really bad, I know. What are we going to paint? Let's paint a cute little love heart. I just realised that this body, although prepped, probably could have done with a bath, but it's fine. It's fine. Let's paint a cute little love heart on him. Oh, look, it's a little love heart. Okay, so it goes on quite nicely for detail work. It is quite thick, and you can see that actually here, this is going to need more than one layer because I haven't watered it down. It's definitely going to need more than one layer on this heart because it's a bit sort of much. Yeah, but I mean that kind of is going on the same way as you'd expect any other acrylic paint pretty much to apply. And these aren't acrylics, these are mineral based paints, so they are going to act differently, but you're getting a really strong intensive colour, which is kind of what we want. Let's do some little hearts. Bloop, 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 bloop. Oh my god, look at the cute little pink heart horse. Oh my god, this horse is going to be horrifically... If anyone wants a tiny horse that's covered in paint splodges, dust and weird love hearts, let me know, because I can hook you up. So actually, this is going on I think it's going on quite nicely. You can see that some of them are going to need a little bit of extra over it. You can see particularly on that top one there. But you know what? In terms of how an acrylic normally goes on, in terms of what I'm used to painting with, this feels exactly the same as if I'm painting with the Citadel colour range. And I'm getting quite a nice intensity of colour. So, okay, so I think we've established that you can hand paint with this perfectly nicely. We're going to leave this little guy to dry, see how long it takes to dry, set a timer. It is currently 10:18. And then we're going to have a go at airbrushing and see what some airbrush paint looks like. Okay, so next up we are going to have a go at airbrushing. Right, so I've got my airbrush here. I lost the end, don't ask. I blame a dog. It's normally a dog's fault. I'm just going to make sure that there's no water left in there because I sprayed some water through just now to check it was working. So the normal way that I get paint for airbrushing out of tubs like this, or Citadel tubs, which is what I normally use, is a pipette. So we're going to try and suck it up. Now this, you can see how thick this paint is. So we're going to need to thin it down. And we're just going to use water because that is my standard thinner. I don't like using big fancy thinners. This is so thick that my pipette is struggling. Okay, so we're going to add some water. So just a little airbrushing tip. You kind of want, like, everyone always says the thickness of milk. I find that quite a sort of ephemeral concept because milk is like lots of different thicknesses. Like, are we talking full fat? Are we talking semi-skimmed? Are we talking skimmed? Okay, so we've watered it down a bit. And you can see, I know the light's not great in here. You can see there is some paint in there. Right, we're going to try spraying it now. We're going to start by spraying it up here and just flowing it through. This is going to make a noise. I apologise. Okay, so it is airbrushing out. You can see the I didn't clean my airbrush properly, but that's fine. You know what? This is not a how to airbrush channel. This is a testing the paint channel. Okay, so we're going to have a go at airbrushing it on this little guy and sort of see what the flow's like. What we don't want is it to be really, really watery. We also want it to actually come out. Well, it is coming out, so let's have a look at what it looks like on. Okay, so you can see I've sprayed some on here. It's actually coming out a little bit nicely. So I kind of used equal parts water to paint, I think. It's quite hard. You kind of get a feel for these things. So if you're new to airbrushing, I recommend you sort of experiment and see what works for you. But you can see the coverage so far. It's actually coming out quite nicely. This is kind of what we want from airbrush paint, okay? We want it to take several layers to slowly build up. We don't want it to be really runny, and it needs to be coming out in a reasonably smooth stream. Right, do we think we've got coverage? I think we've got coverage. Okay, so this is what it looks like, fully applied, airbrushed on. I mean, there is no denying the intensity of this colour. I mean, it is pink. But actually, I think it's quite a nice pink. It's not like a sort of in-your-face, horrific pink. It's quite dark. We're going to pop him over here to dry, along with his friend, who is looking like he's nearly dry, actually. And I'm going to clean my airbrush. Okay, so let's have a look at the finished product. As you can see, still a little bit of drying needed on the airbrushed one, but actually that seems perfectly fine. Probably a little bit of a longer drying time than the Citadel paints that I'm used to, but not horrific. Okay, let's start with the hand painted. So you can see definitely will need a second layer. Don't know what's going on with that massive chunk there, that's fine. You can see like on the tail and stuff, you can see where I messed up. Oh, look! You can see that it definitely will need a second layer of painting on there. It's not as full in its coverage. However, it is dry, okay? It's got a nice colour. What I would say is it is drying true to colour, okay? So if you compare this tail with one coat to the actual pot, it is drying reasonably true to colour, which is kind of what you want, because it can be really, really hard sometimes with model horse paints to know what colour they're going to dry. Particularly, so in this conversation of the weekend, you end up with chestnuts that look orange because it dries orange when it didn't look orange in the tub. So that's quite good. So you can see this better on the airbrushed one. If you look at the airbrushed one, really nice smooth coverage. It's darker than the video is making it appear, so to me it looks a lot darker. It's a really nice fuchsia, that's what I would say. It's quite a subtle fuchsia. It's not in your face. I think it's quite a nice colour, and you can see that it really is, if you put it in front, they are drying true to colour, which is really, really cool. So if you like these paints, obviously go and buy them. Where do I buy them, I hear you ask? Well, let me tell you, on our website. Who saw that one happening? Okay, so check out Chestnut Ridge to buy them. If you do, please, 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 like, paint a horse and let me know how you got on. Let me know how well they like mixed in with other colours. You know, if you've decided to, say, put some pastel on top, how well does that work? Let's briefly do it. Like, how well does pastel on top work? There we go, look, pastel on top. Adds a bit of variety. So let me know how you get on. I'd love to see it. Even if you've bought them elsewhere, I don't really care. I love seeing new paints and new techniques, and love to see how you get on. That wasn't fully dry when I applied that pastel, but that's all right, because I'm going to turn it into a weird sparkly necklace. All right, it is bye-bye from me, and I would say bye-bye from Maggie, but she's not here anymore, so bye-bye.